Hello, Michelle Kilman, your dependable lender for residential mortgages. Today I'm talking about how to tap into home equity. So according to CoreLogic, the average U.S. homeowner possessed $288,000 in equity at the midpoint of 2023. This is a big increase from $182,000 of equity prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. So you can see it's about $100,000 more that people are sitting on if they own a home. So one way to access this equity is to obtain a second mortgage. And this might sound a little bit scary to you, right? Second mortgage, like how much is that going to cost? But it really isn't. And that number actually will depend on how much you want to borrow or need to borrow. And that's a conversation that you should be having with your loan officer or mortgage broker like me to help you figure out what that number is that you want to borrow or can borrow, and then figure out what that payment is going to look like. A second mortgage can be used for any option that you want. You don't need to explain why you need that money. You are able to use it for home improvements, debt reduction if you have high interest credit cards that you simply need to get rid of or want to get rid of and consolidate to something that's a little bit of lower interest. Actually, sometimes it's a lot more interest that you're going to be saving. Maybe you want to fund additional investments, investment property or something else with that money. Those are all things that you can use a second mortgage funds for. And so what is a second mortgage? I want to answer that question. It's a type of loan that is taken out on a property that already has a first mortgage. It's referred to as second mortgage because it sits in second place, which means that in the event that you defaulted on your house payments, the first mortgage would obtain the funds to cover their loan amount when the sale of the property happens first. And then if there's any money left, the second mortgage is able to come and get their money as well. So that's what it really means. And you cannot borrow 100% of your equity, okay? So the loan officer is going to be able to tell you how much equity that you can borrow. And there are different programs in place for second mortgages. And it depends on what type of occupancy the property has. So you can borrow second mortgages on primary residences, second homes, and investment properties. A mortgage broker might have to help you with those investment properties or second homes. We have a lot more options as far as those go. Maybe not. Maybe you can find them somewhere else. I know I have them, so I'm just speaking from what I know. And we can help you figure out how much of that equity, like I said, you can borrow, and we can show you what that payment might look like. So second mortgage does typically have a lower interest rate than a complete refinance right now in January 2024, which does make them pretty popular amongst homeowners. So if you do a complete refinance that's cashing out to consolidate debt, you're going to be at, like, let's say a 6.5%. We're a little bit higher than that, but let's say 6.5%. And you're used to be at a 3%, let's say, if you were one of those people that got the cheap interest rates. So maybe that doesn't really make sense to refinance your whole entire mortgage. So the second mortgage will give you a way to access that equity without messing with that. You can keep your 3% first and then have this money on this side. So I want to talk about the two different types of second mortgages that you can get. The first I want to talk about is a HELOC. So HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. And this is typically a variable interest rate that follows the current interest rates, and you pay interest only for a set number of years during the draw period. So a draw period means this is a time frame that is going to be set up in your loan that you're able to take money out of this account. So they'll say you're approved for $100,000 for your HELOC. You can borrow for 5 years. So you borrow $50,000, you pay some back, you borrow another 20 later. Within all that 5 years, you can keep borrowing from that account, and then your payments adjust depending on how much you're borrowing and how much you're paying back. The other type of second mortgage is a HELOAN, and this is a fixed rate that you're borrowing money, and this comes all at one chunk, like you get all of the money in one chunk. So you're gonna say, I want $30,000. I'm gonna do some renovations in my house, whatever. I don't know. So that loan, you would get $30,000 all at once, and it would be a fixed interest rate that you're gonna pay, and you're gonna make the entire payment. It's not gonna be interest only. So those are a couple of different options, and depending on what you want to do, consolidating debt might be better, if you do a HELOAN. If you're going to be doing constant renovations in your house, or you're going to be doing other things or you think other things might be coming up in your life, a HELOC might be the better option. But that is something that you should talk about with a loan officer or mortgage broker like myself, to help you figure out what option is best for you.